These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. I got my first trail camera when I was 10 years old. It took 8 D-cell batteries and had a roll of film, and I set it up on a dead cow to see what would come in on it. I was so excited to take that roll of film to town, get them developed, and when I got my photos back, it was mostly just blurry photos of ravens and magpies, but in one of them, in the dark, I could see all these eyes circling this cow off in the distance, just glowing in this big bright flash of this giant, awkward camera. But I was so excited by that I just knew that I'd be running game cameras forever. And they've changed so much since then. The best of the cameras now are made by Tactacam. So these reveal cell cameras will work in places that have basically no cell service at all. So I can get cell service on the camera when I can't get it on my phone. They have live view. They've got active GPS. So if a bear packs my camera off, I can find it again. Or if I forget about it, definitely have done that. I can change all of the features through the app on my phone. The photos and videos just get sent to me. And ultimately, this makes me a better hunting guide because I can monitor a really wide area without going in there and disturbing the wildlife in that area, right? I'm just getting the intel back and making decisions based off of what I'm seeing on those cameras. If you want to learn more about Reveal, go to www.tactacam.com and check out their newest camera. That's the Ultra. That's the one that I'm using right now. And it's, simply put, the easiest and best trail camera that I've ever used. So go check it out. Hannah Mabbot, how many years have you been guiding now?
Like officially with my own guide license or just in general?
In general.
9.
9 years. What are some green flags and some red flags when a hunter shows up, somebody that you don't know?
Well, let's
keep it on elk hunting to make it more simple.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. Green flags, they show up with the right ammo, that matches the gun that they brought, or, the correct arrows, and they all match. They don't have mismatched, arrows in there for some reason, which we've seen, and that always confuses me a little bit, but as long as they come with their equipment and are prepared to go on a hunt, that's a big green flag. Red flag would be when they show up and they weren't entirely truthful about conditions that they're in physically, which we try to cater each hunt to that person. But we do our scouting based on that too. So if we know if someone's coming, like for instance, someone that's paraplegic, we're going to be scouting very specific areas to try to find an animal that they can get to and that we can get them to efficiently. And when someone's like, no, I can walk a mile without stopping, I can do this and this and this and this, then we're going to go to exactly where we know the animals are, because we know that even if it's a little bit more difficult, they're more than likely going to be able to get in and out. Because at the end of the day, it's all about like their safety. Right. Yes, of course, we want you to be successful, but we want you to do it and not hurt yourself.
Survival is a precursor to success.
Yeah, and these people are coming here trusting that you can safely take them on this experience. And if anything were to come up, you're in charge of their life, more or less. Mm-hmm. So... just be honest and upfront with your outfitter when you're booking, and they'll do their very best to cater the experience to your needs.
Red flag, brand new equipment.
Oh yeah, brand new equipment. I've had people show up, take guns right out of the box. Never fired it before. Show up with a scope not mounted to the rifle, and it's not like we have all the time in the world to go to a range, do all of the things that it takes. It can take hours. especially if someone is someone inexperienced with like that specific gun, or sometimes people show up and they've hardly ever shot a rifle ever. It's definitely happened a couple times, like people buying a hunt for someone and just sending them with equipment. Yeah, I'm trying to think of specific red flags now.
I've got another one.
Go for it.
Dedicated long-range rifle setups. Like if they've got a super long-rangey type of build, big red flag.
Yeah, especially when we tell people that our shot opportunities are under 400 yards. Like that's what we consider shot opportunity. And when someone shows up and they want to shoot long range, that's great. But we've got a 500-yard target at the lodge, and they have to hit it 3 times before we even consider that.
And how big is that target?
It's a steel plate. I think it's like 12 by 12, 12 by 10, something like that. It's like a sheet of paper.
Like a kill zone.
Yeah. And I can't think of a time when people have hit it like 3 times in a row.
Yeah. That's a difficult shot.
And it's uphill. You even have the bench to shoot off of too. It isn't like you're like laying down or.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Green flag. They show up in quiet footwear.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah. Green flag, they don't want to hunt in blue jeans and a white t-shirt. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But when you're wearing a white t-shirt, you're kind of a really obvious target.
Blue and white are the easiest colors for an elk to see. Yeah, it's a problem.
Same with turkeys.
Ooh, that would be tricky on the old yard bird.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one where I'm like, really? We're going to go sit in the blind today. I don't know. I don't really know how this is going to work.
You have probably the longest elk season of anybody. It's about to start.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
So you run from August 1st until the end of March for elk?
Technically, but I don't really like to hunt them out into March. We really ease up like at the end of January, beginning of February. If it gets really cold and elk are getting pushed down in big numbers, we'll continue past that. But we also haze just to keep them, try to keep them back on public land. Because usually you're pretty fatigued by that time of the year.
How many elk hunters did you guide last year personally?
65.
65. That's a lot of elks. What was your success rate?
90.
Okay, not too bad.
Well, there's an asterisk in there because archery, we had a couple situations where there was a wounded bull, but they had a shot on it. And there were other times where one of my hunters was so excited that he forgot to draw his bow back within like 25 yards, things like that. And so it would be higher, but that was out of my control.
The proximity paralysis is a pretty interesting little human feature, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like every single year, somebody will come into John Appleton's shop and say there's something wrong with my bow. It can't be drawn. I tried to draw it. I had an elk standing there last night and the bow wouldn't move. Like it was locked. And he goes, all right, let's check it out. Loads an arrow, bow draws. But the conviction that people have is so strong that for whatever reason, mentally, they were fully believing that their bow could not be drawn, that there was something broken about it. But there's just a proximity paralysis that happens with people, especially when they get close. It's really interesting. Some people are probably meant to be gatherers.
There's berry pickers. It's a great job. I don't mind picking berries and picking mushrooms part of the year, but yeah, that's not something everyone can do. And there's definitely a type of person that can come out, and the idea of elk hunting is great. It is a great thing. It provides a lot of food and it's great nutrition, but you are taking a life and you need to take that seriously. And it's a huge red flag. So going back to that a little bit. It's a huge red flag when someone wants to like flock shoot and you have to talk them off that, or they just do it anyway, even though you're not giving them the green light to shoot.
I mean, that's just a full-on ethical violation.
Yeah.
That's like its own category.
Yeah, and those people are not welcome back.
I think
because you don't care.
I think another red flag is the iPhone Safari.
What do you mean?
When you have somebody show up and they immediately like point their phone screen towards you and start scrolling through photos of like everything that they've ever shot in their life before.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. I enjoy listening to the hunting stories and the fishing stories and all that. I think they're great. I want to, enjoy your success with you. I think that that's fantastic. And there's a lot of times when people have shot much bigger things than I have or probably ever will, and that's super great for them. But you're here to kill an elk. Let's go focus on that.
Yeah. And have a good experience.
And have a great experience. Yeah.
What are some things you do as an outfitter to ensure that experience is good? And you talked about making sure that your hunters are safe, that you set them up for a hunt that's within their physical capabilities and their skill capabilities. What are some things you do just to make sure that they enjoy the experience?
Well, when people show up, I like to have fresh baked cookies there at the house. That's just like a little personal thing because that's what I would want to walk into if I was going to a new place. But most of the guys that have been coming out here year after year, they kind of expect at this point, and they're like, can we make requests? And I'm like, if I have time, you can make a specific request, but a lot of the stuff I prep in advance. But just talk to them and get to know them because everyone has a story and everyone has a really, every person has really cool, unique things about themselves. Like last year we had an archery hunter that came out and he's rock climbed like half the world. That's incredible. I'm never going to do that. Tell me more about it. That's great. And other people come out and maybe they don't think that their life is that interesting, but there's always something, whether it's like their kids excelling in sports or this new hobby that they picked up. Like, I want to hear about it. Let's talk about it. And it's just one more thing we can chat about on our hike in, and then we can get serious when we need to.
Yeah. And I don't want to come off as callous. Like, I'm not interested in the hunts that people have gone on. What I consider to be kind of the red flag within that category is when they're like trying to compare experiences, and comparison is the death of joy, right? So if they're like, well, look at this bull I killed in blah, blah, blah back in, year of our Lord 2001. Like, well, that's awesome. We don't have any of those.
Yeah. That's another, like, and I'm very upfront with people on what they can expect, like size-wise, out where we are. And I'm like, we can see bigger. We have seen bigger every year, but I can't guarantee you're going to have shot opportunities at that.
Yeah.
Like, we'll do our very best. But there's certain prices that you pay and areas you go to that have these trophy class bulls. And a lot of Oregon is in that.
Yeah, and it's ultimately not what the experience boils down to.
If you want to kill something big, you can go to a high fence ranch and pay X amount of dollars and you'll kill something really big. But if you want to go on like a great hunt and have a great experience, we can talk. We can provide that for you. That's something I would be more than happy to help with.
Yeah. But if I tape a bull and he goes 339 and 7/8,
that's huge.
That's incredible.
It's bigger than anything in here.
But I've also had this exact thing happen, and dudes are like, "Are you sure he's not 340?" Like, I can tape him again, but I'm gonna tape him tighter next time.
Should have killed him next year. I don't know.
Well, also, what does that change? What in the world does that 1/8 of an inch change? And a lot of people get these numbers in their mind, like a 300-inch elk is going to be somehow more satisfying than a 290-inch elk. But that is literally 1/2 an inch per tine. It's something that you can't, unless you are very familiar with these animals, you can't even look at that and see the difference with your eyes. You have to actually measure it to be able to detect the difference. But once that number's out there, then somehow that's now the quantity of your experience. Like, that's bonkers. We don't need to do that.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's great when people have gotten those, especially when they've gotten them on public land. Like, bravo, nice work. Like, you probably put in a lot of effort to do that. But it always takes people back when I tell them, like, I've guided people on bulls that size and larger, but that's the biggest one I've gotten. And the biggest buck I've ever shot was last year, or two years ago now, 3 years ago. But regardless, and he was right at 170. And that hunt was a super awesome hunt, but I've gone on much cooler hunts and shot animals that are, not quite that quote unquote trophy class, I guess.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are like, like they don't know what to say. Like they're almost embarrassed. And I'm like, you don't need to be, embarrassed or anything like that. Like I'm not trying to compare or make anyone feel greater or lesser. That's just, not everyone's had those experiences or opportunities to do that.
What is a turkey hunting skill? Because that's another thing you guide that is valuable for elk hunting.
Being quiet. Just being quiet, like not overcalling. Yeah, that it seems to be something that everyone wants to do. They practice turkey calls and elk calls constantly, and sometimes guys sound amazing. Like they sound exactly like the animal. But sometimes it's good to just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe make a little bit of noise to let them know you're there, and then just be silent.
Yeah, curiosity is pretty deadly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those toms get dumb, but they're not that dumb. Like, they usually will make a lot of noise, and then the females go to them. Like you'll see videos online of hens like crawling under toms and trying to get their attention. They usually go to them, but if you sound like a hen and then get quiet, he's going to come in trying to find you because he wants you to hear him and see him. And then that's when you're going to get your opportunity.
Yeah. And in both of these scenarios, naturally a bull is trying to call cows in and a tom is trying to call hens in. So it's unnatural to get them to come to you, right? So they're already a little bit nervous about that situation and a little bit insecure. And I think a lot of people try to solve that insecurity with more calling, whereas you can actually make them curious, make them like want to go investigate with their eyes instead of their ears, because you might unintentionally give them all the information they need by making more noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they are big visual creatures, like turkeys just as much or more so than elk, and so it does help in that instance to have a decoy. But elk hunting, I've had decoys and they work pretty well in open country situations if you have no cover and you need something, for them to kind of focus their attention on. But turkeys, probably 99 out of 100 times I've got a hen decoy somewhere, and probably a jake on top of it.
Yeah. You hunt elk in a lot of very open country, sometimes not a tree around. For archery, how do you go about doing that?
It's so much fun. It's my favorite hunt of the year. But I've also had, the most, they're grueling. They're really grueling. It's all wind. Yeah. I mean, you have to be, we're talking
terrain, right?
Yeah, I mean, the terrain is open. Like, we're talking CRP, maybe some sage, and you're not hiding behind the sage. Like, I'm trying to think back on the last few seasons, because we only started doing this, I think my third year in, I was talking to the landowners about it, and they were like, well, you could try. Like, how are you going to do that? Are you going to do, like, blinds and, like, hay bales or something? And I'm like, no, I think we're just going to hunt them. And they were like, good luck. And we've had 100% success rate on that for the last 3 years running. Since we've started, we have not had a single archery hunter go home without a bull up there, but we only do 2 a year.
Well, let's spill some secrets, because people get in this situation from time to time where they're used to working in timber, maybe even dark timber, where, their shot opportunity is going to be at the first place that they can physically see that elk just because it's tight. Maybe they're in the aspens or something like that. But then elk tend to move in and out of that country into parks, meadows, open hillsides, and a lot of folks are just like, well, I can't do it. I can't get in there. So how can you give some advice to people for how to hunt elk with a bow in wide open country?
Sure. Well, the wind is always your biggest tool. You have to have good wind, like no matter what. You have to figure out your approach.
Do you like the wind in your face, or do you like a crosswind?
Either or is fine as long as it's not going towards the animal. And sometimes we have to like measure in our mind and with our wind checker. Like sometimes we'll be going in on a stalk, and by all means, the first stalk is not going to be the like end all be all only stalk you're going on. Like I think last year we went on like 9 stalks, and every single time we were within 100 yards. Like sometimes we were within 40, just waiting for it to stand up, and it would blow out because the wind would change at the last second. And it's just like, oh my God, it's 100 degrees out here, and we're just like sitting in a pool of sweat on this hillside right now. And all we needed was him to stand up and not do anything. And anyway, it can be really frustrating, but yeah, just the angle. Like even sometimes if you're making your approach, and this is the best approach you have to do because they can't see you, because obviously besides the wind, the visual component is major because it's totally open, which is why those elk feel safe. So using those tiny little crests of the hill or crawling, or one thing we do almost every year is sit flat on our butt and just scoot forward with our hands and feet. And my hunters always have their bows like on their lap, and we're doing this just as long as your head's not bobbing and they can't see you, you're good. But yeah, let's see here.
So you're talking about stalking. So it's almost like a forward crab walk type deal. Mm-hmm. So they can set their bow on their lap, have their hands down, and
call it boot scooting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Africans call it bum stalking.
Oh,
isn't that fun?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So doing some of that. I guess I could, if you want, I could walk you through like a successful stalk we did last year and just kind of explain.
That'd be great.
The mental process. I've even got pictures.
Spill the tea, as they say.
The tea, sure. Yeah. So this hunter has been doing this specific open country spot and stalk hunt for a couple years now. He comes all the way up from Southern California, and he's a great shot. I don't have to worry about him practicing. As a matter of fact, he owns a bow shop. So he's kind of just doing that stuff all the time.
We love that.
Yeah, we really, really love that. Yeah. And we really love that because of what ends up happening here. But we had gone on a few stalks and they didn't pan out. We were trying because there was this herd that had like a dozen good bulls in it. Like any one of them you would have taken a shot at. But they were in the most hard to sneak in place in that open country. So there are places in the open country where you just know like there's no way in and no way out of there without them seeing us. They're going to see us at 150 yards. We're done.
And that's that terrain element of it.
Yep. Yeah. And so you have to wait until they leave. And what we do, and this is how we do these hunts, is first thing in the morning, we're out there right at daylight watching these elk move. And like the satellite bulls are going here and, and then they all herd up and they'll split out when the heat kind of kicks in for the day. And we're doing these at the end of August, beginning of September. And in Eastern Oregon, it's triple digits sometimes. It's always high 90s. It's very hot. We watch them go to their first bed that day. And then we we decide like, okay, well, that's a good bull and we know he's there. And half the time we don't even see him. We just know that they're in that draw or they're by that grass. And so we'll go on our stalk and, it may not pan out. The elk may have moved by the time we get over there. 'Cause this is like miles away. Like it's not close.
So you're like glassing from across a big canyon or
big canyon, yeah.
Big flat or something. Okay. So that first bed, Is that going to be in a place that's got some shade still in the morning?
No, almost always they're just laying in the sun. But they lay in the sun out of sight to us. And where they end up bedding is usually a place that's going to have shade within an hour or two of them being there, because it's still relatively cool when they get to that spot, and you still have a little bit of the morning thermals causing some wind in those draws. But then when those thermals die, usually there's some shade, whether it's a berm or whatever that they've laid up against. That's going to be providing them some shade. So, and I said first bed because almost always they'll get up at some point in the day and either move to get water or just move in general. Mm-hmm. It's a very standard characteristic of what they're doing out in this open country. So we'll go on that first stalk. Let's say hypothetically it didn't pan out. And then we'll go back to a glassing knob, and you just have to stare through your spotter until your brain hurts, basically trying to pick these elk out. And sometimes it'll just be like the tops of their rack moving a little bit. And so you know that they're still there. And so it's like, okay, now we're going to go on the second stalk. But I think we were on like day 2 or 3, and these stalks, like sometimes they take hours. Like you're just sitting in the sun, like in the sun. There's rattlesnakes out there. There's all kinds of nasties. And you're crawling on your hands and knees, usually in socks, or some guys have stocking moccasins. Me and my client don't. We just double up on socks and then tuck our pants into our socks, and then just go for it. And it's mostly CRP grassland. You're not running into too many stickers, but you'll get them on occasion, and there's always cheatgrass. But on this particular stalk, we had seen a really nice bull take, it was like 7 or 8 cows into this draw. And I know this draw, I've made a stalk in it before, and I'm like, we can get on that bull. We can get well within 40 yards of that bull. And this archer, I do not have to worry about him with bad judgment out to like 50 at least. Like he knows what he's doing, and he practices every day. So we get over to the spot, and we're just creeping over. And as soon as I see the top of a cow's head, because the big bull disappeared, we didn't know where he went because we couldn't see him from where we were, but there was another bull in there. And so we got over, and we could just barely see just past that cow. That other bull was bedded right there, like just easy to get to. And the plan was I was going to sneak him into the top of this draw, which was a little bit of a bowl, get him down in the sage, and I was going to crawl all the way back out and go about 150 yards below them down the draw, which was not going to be the best wind, but we had a crosswind, so it was all right. But what I was going to do was I was going to flip up an elk decoy and start calling and get his attention. And it doesn't matter if he was nervous, scared, whatever. He's going to stand up and stare at it for a minute, and it's going to give him an almost perfect broadside shot, just a little quartered to him. And we had discussed that beforehand. So we're like, okay, this is perfect. We're going to get this bull. And it was a good 5-point.
That's a gutsy move, because it's going to take you a minute to get around there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you learn how to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the fun in it, right? That's why I love this hunt so much, because it really, this hunt has made me such a better hunter and guide tenfold, because it forces you to work so much harder than you normally have to for elk and any animal, really. So it took us about 35 minutes to crawl him in, because like he's crawling right behind me, and I have him to where I'm like, if I stop, you stop. If I get low, you get low, just like we're on the same wavelength. And so he's following me, and we get all the way in there. He gets set up, and I back out, and I have to back out, obviously pretty slow, because I don't want to blow it at this point. And so I get out and around, and I get down below them. Here's him in this picture here. So there's my hunter. And there's the cow, and there's the bull.
Mm-hmm. He's all tucked in there.
Yeah, exactly. And so we had been watching him from about a mile away. So what ends up happening, and this is like a freak accident. So we ranged him. We knew exactly where he was going to be when he stood up all my hunter had to do was, and I told him, we both had watches. That's a very important thing out there. I'm like, at exactly 11 o'clock, I'm going to call because I can't see my hunter. I'm like, at 11 o'clock, be ready. I'm going to call. And that gave me like a 35 to 45 minute window to get to where I needed to be, which was fine. So I snuck out. And as soon as I was up out of that bull, I just ran. And I got down around the corner, took my decoy out, leaned it up, and I was kind of looking out of the corner of it. I just started cow calling. And I was cow calling, and I was cow calling, and nothing was happening. But the cow that was above that 5 point was staring at me. She stood up, and then she looked towards my hunter. And at that point, I heard a bugle, and it wasn't the bull that I had set him up on. And I'm thinking like, oh, that other bull's in there. But like neither of us had any idea where he was because we could only see the cow, that bull, and then a couple cows that were a little further down in the draw. And so I bugle right back at him. I was like, okay, because I'm still trying to get that 5 point to stand up. And this bull, I just see dust kicking up. I hear like a deep guttural scream out of this that he's mad. He's big mad. Which I was actually laughing at that point because I'm like, this is hilarious. And then I see all the elk jump up and take off. And I was like, oh, well, it was still a great stalk. Like that was great. And then I see this bull come running towards me. And he's at 40 yards from me, and he's got an arrow sticking out of the side of him. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm texting my hunter, and I'm like, dude, you got him. Like, you hit him. And he's like, I hit him a little further back than I wanted, but he jumped up at 15 yards. And he shot him when he got to about 30. But this thing, from where I left my hunter, he was in a dry bed that neither of us could see 15 yards away, but that's how quiet we were being. And that's like how perfect the wind was. We literally crawled over the top of where he was bedded maybe 8 yards away. And he didn't get up and he didn't know we were there. But anyway, it took us a little while. We were just going to wait him out. I'm like, can you get another one in him? And I had to slide down out of the way because I was like, it was my hunter, the bull, and me right on the other side. And I'm like, if for whatever reason he misses, I'm going to get hit with an arrow. So I had to slide out of the way of the trajectory of the arrow. And he's like, no, he's at like 110 yards. I can't make that. I'm not going to take that shot. And so we waited 20 minutes, 30 minutes. This bull's clearly like distressed. He's going to die at some point. But what had happened was his shot was a little far back, great angle on it, but it went in and just pierced the diaphragm. It didn't really hit anything. It nicked the liver a little, but it wasn't that severe. Like it wasn't going to cause an immediate death. And I told him, I'm like, if you can sneak forward and get another one in him, that's great. Like I can try to distract him. Or we can just leave him. And we decided to leave him. But that bull finally got tired of standing there and he turned and he was going to run back towards where those other elk went.
Yep.
Which was about 400 yards from the neighbor's fence. And he could definitely make that. And I did not want to have to deal with that situation. So I'm calling, I'm trying to get him to stop, and he's shuffling because he's not feeling too hot after that. And I hear, and I'm glassing this bull calling, and I see just blood splatter on the side of him. And that thing takes 10 more steps and piles up. And my hunter he's like, yeah, I put, because he had a single pin, he's like, I dialed it to 100 yards and held above him and just prayed that I was going to hit him, and he went right through the center of him and he bled out immediately and died. And he's like, I'm not even going to tell anyone that I took that shot because no one's going to believe me.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not a shot that people should realistically take or anything like that. But he's like, I had to do something. Like
look, on follow-up shots, sometimes all bets are off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he did it. It was impressive.
I don't think that I would have a hard time with that at all. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations to that dude.
Yeah.
So
it was amazing.
Green flag, your hunter owns an archery shop.
Oh, huge green flag. Yeah.
Yeah. We like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had one of those. Maybe someday.
Yeah. And his buddy that comes with him every year, he's also just great shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ended up killing a bull. I think his first shot was like 55 yards, and it was just drinking water, hanging out. And these guys, when in between the times that they're out in the field, like when we're back at the house eating lunch and whatnot, they're target practicing every time. Like they're out double checking, they're making sure everything is good, and they're taking like 50, 60, 70 yard shots, because obviously ideal, like for your standard hunter that comes out, you want them at like 20, 30, like closer, much, much closer, reasonable shots that are like, anyone can make with a decent amount of practice. But these guys really like know what they're doing. And it's great for us as guides to be able to trust them. Like if we tell them there's an elk at 50 yards, even them, like, they're like, you know what? I don't feel good about this angle. I'm not going to take a shot. Like they know that because they have gone on a million archery hunts at this point. Like they know exactly like what their limitations are. And that's super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And learning those limitations often is a hefty lesson. I mean, I had confidence, honestly, at a greater range when I was 12 years old with a recurve than I do now with a compound. For sure. Like
was that like blind confidence, or you just practiced a lot more then?
Well, I for sure practiced more then, but also you start having bad experiences the longer you do this. I've been shooting a bow for 35 years now, a lot. And the more you do it, the more times you're going to see that thing that went wrong that was outside your control, and you're going to go, okay, what could I do to reduce that variable? And inevitably, that's going to be a range reduction every time, a little bit. So for me, 40 yards on a first shot, that is my absolute outside limit. If it's 41 yards, I'm going to get closer or I'm not going to shoot. However, if it's a scenario like what you just described, where you've got an animal that's wounded, you don't know how hard it's hit, and it's about to get into a situation where recovery is going to be extremely difficult, I encourage people to take that shot. If that bull would have been at 200 yards and you told me that your hunter took that shot, I'd be like, way to send it, because
you got to try. If it's already wounded, you got to try.
You just don't have anything to lose at that point.
Your animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's much worse than accidentally missing at 100 yards on a moving target.
Right. And if you miss that long shot on an animal that's wounded, more than likely you didn't make the situation worse.
Yeah.
Like it might skitter off a couple steps, but it's not going to alter the course of what was going to happen if you didn't take the shot at all. I have seen scenarios where, an animal not shot super well, and the hunter like made a really big movement to like turn around to try to get another shot in, and then scared the animal off. That's a situation where I think maybe a little bit different judgment could have been used.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe slow that down, wait until he turns his head, something along those lines. In that particular scenario, we still recovered the bull, so it was okay. But yeah, I mean, there's so much nuance to all this. And most people don't get to hunt elk 65 times a year. Most people only get to hunt elk a couple times in their life. So how much experience can they actually hope to gain? Well, it's minimal. So that's why they need to do things like they're doing right now and listen to people who are doing it a lot and try and learn from their mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in their quiver. The multiple arrows in the quiver thing, that's instant blood pressure for me.
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, wait, which ones were you using?
It's always golfers.
Is it?
It's always.
I guess I never asked because I just don't even.
100% of the time it's golfers, because they have a different golf club for every shot. And they think, well,
I guess that makes sense.
I'll just use my 9-iron arrow for this shot.
I mean, I don't mind if someone shows up and they're like, I have a grouse arrow. I'm like, yeah, we've got a lot of those. That's fine.
Sure.
But they're not going to be flinging that at an elk.
That's a green flag.
Because I'm like, absolutely.
Green flag.
Yes. I carry a slingshot with ball bearings in my pack just for that reason. And I've hit a couple.
Yeah.
I have killed squirrels, but I haven't.
You haven't gotten a grouse with a slingshot yet?
No. Oh. I hit one in the foot last year and it flew off, but
new goal.
I always get really excited.
New goal for this year. I carry a suppressed 22 pistol.
It's a heck of a slingshot.
Well, I mean, you can use rimfire on grouse in Oregon.
No, I know.
Which is pretty
You
cool.
should try a slingshot. It's a lot harder.
I've tried a slingshot as well. I'm into it. I like it very much. I think that my pistol might be quieter, but
It might be because those bands they can make some noise,
they're a
but
little thwoppy.
usually the grouse don't even care.
No, but the elk that's right over the ridge, because I will.
That's why I don't have I mean, I've got like my sidearm, but that's why I carry the slingshot because it's not making much noise. And like if the ball bearing hits like the tree or something, like that's a pretty natural sound.
Yeah.
So it isn't like a gunshot.
I dropped a hunter off in the stand one time, and I was not very far away when I encountered the grouse, and I shot it with my 22, and he was kind of upset with me, but that's just how I am. It's part of the deal. And he had a bull come in a very short time later and got within like 2 yards of him. It's like, see, it's good luck.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Green flag, hunter shows up to camp with a bear tag.
Mm-hmm.
Giant green flag. And a cat tag because they're only $16.
$16.50.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
For residents and non-residents.
Yeah, that's a green flag.
Mm-hmm.
It's we just ask all of our folks to do that. Yeah.
I do for the multi-day hunters that are there for like a longer period of time, but some of our cow hunts are only like 1 day or 2 days, and like that's a lot to fit in. Like obviously my priority is you getting your elk.
Mm-hmm.
Red
flag, they pass on a coyote.
No, green flag if they understand that they're passing on a coyote, because if they shoot that, it's going to scare the elk away that are the next ridge over. Absolute green flag if they shoot them any other time. I'm all for it. Shoot all the coyotes that you want out here. However, it is not, I will not let that like scare the main objective away.
Oh, I'd be pumped about it.
Mm-mm.
I'd be pumped about it. I've told all my dudes.
I'm like, we'll come back for that. We'll go call. We'll do something else. But like, we're within 500 yards of these elk. If you take your .6 and shoot that coyote.
We're still bow hunting here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So,
I thought you were talking with a rifle for a second. And
no,
I'm like, no.
I'm still in archery world. Although I will say that every time I've ever shot a coyote with a rifle while elk hunting, it's worked out to my advantage. Like I've killed elk because I shot a coyote, and then elk like stood up in a place that I was going to keep on going past and never would have known about, and gotten a bull because of that. So I think it's good luck. But I've heard from some of my guys, well, I had this coyote come in, but I didn't shoot it because I didn't feel like, it was worth the price of the arrow. And so what I've said is I will replace the arrow, broadhead, nock, vein, everything of any arrow that hits a coyote. That comes straight out of my personal checking account. Yeah.
That's very generous of you. No, absolutely. If it's with a bow and you think you can hit it, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take time out of my time, like out of our stock, whatever, to let you do that. If it's with a rifle though, and it's gonna like blow out everything that's within like a mile of us, we're not gonna be doing that until you're done.
Yeah. Suppressors though.
I have like 2% of the people come with that. I'm working on a new rifle right now that I'm going to let people rent if they want to come out. And it's a 7 PRC, and my suppressors here. I got the suppressor first.
Nice.
So I wasn't sure how long it was going to take. It took literally no time, like 3 weeks. The hardest part was being here to sign for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because FedEx would always show up. Like I would wait here for like 6 hours. And then I would run to the grocery store, and the second I left my house, they'd show up.
So you got it from Silencer Central.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, they made it really easy.
Cool. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from a long-range shooting school, which was fun. Learned a couple things. And
were you teaching or were you attending?
I was attending. I got to be a student. How cool is that?
The most cool.
Yeah.
But you learned some stuff.
Of course. I learn a ton when I'm teaching too. Like every time I teach a course, I feel like I'm learning more than the students are. Or at least, yeah, that's how I feel. It's probably not the case, but I learn a ton from teaching. But yeah, it was really awesome to get to be a student again. And to go into it with the mindset of like, I'm here to learn everything I could. So I was like, notebook and every single thing. it was cool. But one of the interesting things from a suppressor standpoint is we had a gentleman there who had a really nice rifle, a Red Rock precision rifle, and his extreme spread on velocity was like 7 or something. Like, it was great, very consistent. When we added a suppressor to his gun, his extreme spread got bigger. I was like, that's interesting. So we've changed his barrel harmonics. I was like, just for funsies, let's try a different can. Different length, different weight. We had some velocity change between one can and the next, which was also interesting. And then we had a different extreme spread, but his rifle had more consistent velocity without the silencer than with the silencer on it, which was so interesting, something that I'd just simply not tested before.
Another red flag is a hunter will show up with a suppressor not on his rifle, and his gun was sighted without the suppressor on it, and he thinks that it'll be fine with the suppressor, and it is not.
Yeah, they're going to hit low. If you hang a weight off the end of your barrel, and maybe this isn't every time, but every time that I've added a suppressor to a rifle, it's hit low.
I can't tell you exactly where, because I wasn't guiding him, but my guide ended up having to like take him out back and to the 100-yard target and like re-sight everything. And it was off by a few inches at 100, but we had to convince him like, no, it's not going to be the same. He's like, no, it's going to be fine. It's just a suppressor. It's just going to take the sound away. And we're like, no, it does a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah.
So we got that figured out, and he ended up filling his tag. But yeah, don't ever like add or subtract anything to your equipment and not check your gun again. That should be like changing bullets and whatnot. Red flag coming to hunt, and you have 3 different boxes of bullets, and you don't know which one you sighted your gun in with. Because then we got to take them out back and try all 3 boxes and see which one's grouping the best.
Red flag, the ammo they showed up with is match ammo, not hunting ammo.
Yeah, that's one.
I don't like that.
Yeah. And it's hard to explain all of these details, especially when they're like, well, this is what my gun shoots the best. And it's like, okay, I understand that, but that's not what this was created for. And I'm sure, like at the end of the day, you can kill an elk or a deer with a 22 pistol if you're close enough and you have the right, everything is so perfect. You're like 2 yards away from this thing and you shoot it. Like,
yeah,
but
not legally, but yeah,
sure,
theoretically.
Yeah,
sure,
not legally, but theoretically here, you could do that. But should you? Absolutely not. There's a reason that you legally can't do that. And like, the same thing goes for these larger calibers and the ammo you put in them. Like, you put these super tiny light bullets in with like a lot of powder, and yeah, they're going to go really fast, but they might just zip through the thing and not do the damage that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Which is why when people get a hold of me, and now I've got, like, I'm almost finalized all the gear list, but I've got, now we have the 270 restriction. That's the smallest caliber you can bring out for an elk.
No more 6.5s.
Well, yeah. If they show up with one, we check everyone's guns regardless. But yeah, it's just an awkward.
I support you.
It's just a really awkward conversation, because I'm like, okay, I understand that you've been practicing a lot, but like, what if you don't hit it right where you want to hit it? And they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, that's not going to break a hip bone. That's not going to do as much damage as it needs to slow that thing down so we can get it again, unless you want to go on like an all-night, all-day chase.
Yeah, we need a plan
And that's
B.
not fun for anybody.
Yeah.
They're a lot faster than you.
You just got back from a month in Alaska?
About 3 weeks.
Yeah. And you were helping with a fish camp up there, wall tent camp. Looked pretty cool. What did you learn from that operation that you can apply to your own?
Just hospitality is king at the end of the day. Like, yeah, you're taking people hunting, and you're taking people, in this case, fishing, but treat everyone the same and treat everyone well. It's not that we haven't done that. We do a really good job of that, and we have like a great return list of people that come hunt with us every year. But there's always little things, like remembering specific details about people, like their kids and their hobbies. There was one guide that was there, and he's been doing this for a while, but he had a notebook, and all the returns had little notes by their names, and it was like first and last name, and then it was like they live here and they do this, and
Yeah,
I thought that was really interesting.
really into the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, just
whatever.
little things. Like, it might have been just something that they offhandedly mentioned, but obviously it's important enough in their existence to where they're going to bring it up to someone that they don't know. And so I really liked that. And I loved how clean everything was. Because even though we were 55 miles from the nearest town, if you can call it a town, it was kind of just like a cannery and like kind of a grocery store. But you can make do with a lot less. And you can still make it an incredible experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think hospitality is something that we can always improve on as guides and outfitters. Have you ever watched that really horrible show Below Deck?
Is that like the crabbing or fishing?
No, it's like rented private yacht type deals.
Oh my Lord. No, I have not.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about though. Isn't it like the wait staff and whatnot and their dramas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
I always get takeaways from that because they're dealing with, people who are spending, a couple $100,000 for a few days to be on this boat, and they're really looking after all of their needs and wants and desires. And there's little things that they do that I'm like, oh, I could implement that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That would increase our professionalism a little bit. And there's also a point where like it's still hunting camp, right? You can be as bougie as you want and have everything as professional and dialed as possible, but you also need to maintain the correct feeling and atmosphere, and you can go over the top with it. But there's little things that you can always do to just make it that much better. And even if it's not even noticeable, it accumulates to a better experience. And I'm always looking for ways to improve that stuff.
Yeah. Like one of the things we were doing, like some people wanted their fish cut in a specific way. And the one thing that happens is like they go out in the boats and they come back with their bags of fish. And by bags of fish, I'm not referring to like a grocery bag. I'm referring to the big like fish bags.
Hefty bags.
Yeah, big bags. Yeah, you could fit quite a few salmon in those, by the way. And they'd bring them to like the cleaning area, and they would tell the people that are cleaning the fish, like, hey, this one's mine, these are this person, I want mine halved, or I want mine skinned, or whatever. Like, and you do that. And every single fish, almost immediately when they get back, is cleaned, vacuum sealed with their name on it, and frozen. Immediately. It's not a let's wait around. It's everyone, it's all hands on deck. So like, even though I was there doing all kinds of different things, but like also making sure that like food timing was correct and people were getting fed and there was enough like snacks and everything for everyone. I would go out during those cleaning times, and sometimes like they wouldn't come back in like a timely manner. It would be like randomly, like we'd have everyone back at 1 and then another group showed up at 2:30. You drop whatever you're doing and you go out and you help. Because at the end of the day, like, yes, they want to come out here and have this incredible experience in like the Alaskan bush, but also they want to go home with the fish. And the best way to ensure that the fish is going to taste amazing when they get home is to take care of it like the second it's caught, essentially. So we definitely, I got really good at vacuum sealing and packing.
Vacuum sealing is important, and if they show up and all their seals are broken and their fish gets freezer burned, then the salmon isn't going to make it through the year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I did get to get some fishing in. As much as, well, the first couple days I was there, I pretty much caught like my limit that I could come home with. And then I had room for a couple like sockeye and stuff like that. And I just was having a lot of fun, like using the fly rod and trying to catch them in like different ways. And so I just kind of didn't fish that much when the weather was bad. I'm like, it's pouring rain. It's 40 degrees. I don't want to go fish. And then it came to the last day and the fishing kind of dried up a bit. And I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah.
This isn't great. I came home with my like full fish box, but my goal was to bring 2 home, which legally I could have because the sockeye, it's 10 a day. I just kind of got complacent, which is not really a characteristic that I'm comfortable with saying that I did, but it happened. So my bad, mom and dad. But
Alaska's having an incredible sockeye run this year. Statewide.
it was insane.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. Up there, it's not fishing, it's just catching.
Yeah.
Like really, I was just standing on the bank because most of the time I didn't have time to like leave in the boats. And we had some employee fishing time, but for the most part, like you're there to work. So do what you need to do.
Yep.
But I would go out. I would always schedule like some time for myself to either take a break or go fish a little bit. And you would just see tens of thousands of them just swimming right next to the bank. And I'm like, this doesn't even seem real.
Yeah.
Like, truly, it didn't.
It's just such a flood of
And there's chums. There's lots of chums.
oceanic biomass heading upstream. Really incredible.
Yeah, it was wild. You could see like the sea foam and stuff. And most of the salmon still had sea lice on them. And the colors, they're just so red. Like sockeye, of course, are more red than kings, but the color was almost like a neon. Like it was so bright when you would cut into them. It was crazy.
Meat. Yeah.
And
Amazing.
we ate it every night. Like, don't ask me to eat salmon for a while because I ate it every night for like 3 weeks straight. And it was so amazing. But now, like, my parents, I think when I got home, they were like, do you want to come to the house and cook us some of this salmon? I'm like, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Thanks. But no.
Yeah. Give me a beat. So of the 3 weeks of nonstop salmon eating, what's your go-to recipe?
Oh, just for like fresh out of the water. I have a go-to recipe if I was like here, but up there, honestly, it was just like some Cajun seasoning, salt and pepper, and just throw them on the smoker for like 30 minutes at a cool temp so the fat doesn't come up, because that's a big problem with them is they're so oily and all those omegas. It's what makes them so great, right? But you can really mess that up if your cooking technique is off. And so we would slow smoke them, and then we would crank the heat up a little bit just to get it finished. And that was it. It was a very simple preparation. There wasn't any like lemon, lime, citrus, nothing. It was just that.
With the latitude you were at and the time of year that you were there, there's 23 hours of daylight.
That was so rough.
How does that affect the cooking, feeding schedule?
Yeah. So we had a set time. So breakfast was at 8, lunch was at 1, dinner was at 7. There were plenty of snacks and foods and drinks and things if people were hungry in between those times, because inevitably you have people that are staying up till midnight every day or later. And some people just, I don't even know if they went to bed at all. They just stayed up the whole time.
You get so much energy from that much sunlight. It's crazy.
It's the weirdest thing. And the first couple days, I mean, the whole thing kind of felt like a fever dream. It went by so quickly, but the first few days, it was really hard for me to deal with that. And so I ended up sleeping with like a beanie pulled over my face,
what I asked you about when you first got there. I was like, do you have blackout curtains? Do you have
it was so
mask?
stupid.
Yeah.
I was in a wall tent. Like it was not.
It's just glowing.
Oh, and it so was. But
for people who haven't experienced it, you can hear it and be like, wow, that's crazy. But until you've actually experienced it so light at 1 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night that you can still read a book, it's crazy.
It's very weird. It feels wrong. It feels like you're going to bed too early or too late, or that you shouldn't even be in bed at all. One thing during like an employee fishing excursion, my boss wanted to show us this area called Grizzly Slough. And if anyone's familiar with the Nushkak, or if you're not, you would know that there are many splits and confluences, and there's tons of weird little tributary rivers and little streams and sloughs up there. It's very, very confusing. Even if you have a map, it's like, oh my goodness. And so there's this one that cuts around the backside of camp, which is called Grizzly Slough. And we decided to take the boat up through it. And I guess I should say he, because I didn't have any experience back in there, so I didn't know what was going on. But he misjudged a little bit the depth of the river. and we got stuck 3 times to where everyone had to get out and like push the boat. In the mosquitoes, I mean, we were all just wearing like our normal clothes. Like I had my like Sika pants on and had to take all the stuff off and just get in the water and push. And we didn't end up getting back to like after 1. And we left at 9. It was supposed to be like an hour long little, let's jet up to this buoy and hook up and catch some fish real quick. It wasn't that.
Yeah. A little bit sportier.
So we get back and I'm like, oh no, I have to be up in like 5.5 hours to start prep for the day.
That's just good elk hunting training.
Is it?
Totally.
I don't think of many times when I'm up that late unless something really bad happened.
I regularly am. Like on the nights that we kill a bull, I'm usually not done with like dinner and everything, getting the elk cut up and in the cooler. Like a lot of times it's
Are we talking archery again?
Yeah, 11:30 or midnight. And then it's getting light early. If it's early season, I'm up again at 3:30. Yeah.
Early season's definitely a grind.
Dude, such a grind.
Like this, our cow season obviously starts August 1st. We've got some of the hunters showing up July 31st, but, we have to get up before light, get the coffee going, just have a little chat with the hunters, kind of figure out where we're going for the day. And we only hunt the first 2 or 3 hours, and then we come back and break and nap.
Sure.
Which is amazing. Midday naps in August. Best part of the job. And then you go out in the evening, of course. So I kind of tell people it's like 6 on, 6 off. Like you're up, you can break, go back out, break. But it's hard going, like the transition from that to like archery season, because a lot of the times in archery, specifically archery, like what we discussed before, like your stalks are all day. Like you're not coming back and breaking for a nap as badly as you want one. And again, that's part of the fun of it being so difficult and whatnot. But I'm a little heartbroken because this year I'm guiding an archery mule deer hunter instead of an archery early season open country archery bull. And it is what it is, but
it'll be great.
I think it'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah. If somebody wants to come and hunt with you, how do they get a hold of you?
You can either message us on Instagram or Facebook. It's Hunt Oregon LLC, or we have a website. It's huntoregonllc.com, and you can send us an inquiry through that. And this year we're pretty booked out. We've got a little bit of wiggle room for cows and upland bird, but other than that, we're full. And that little guy needs to get some more bird hunting in. So,
the dog that you thought that was yours that's hanging out by me right now?
Duchess, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Such a good boy.
Yeah, he's pretty needy.
Okay. Well, thanks for the stories. Green flags, red flags. Enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Good
Thank
luck
you for
this
your
season.
time. Yeah, you as well. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great season.
I feel good about this year.
I feel really confident going into this year, and usually I get a little like nervous and excited, like nervous, not feeling like something bad's going to happen, but just like chomping at the bit to go. And this year I'm like, no, everything's going to be great. I don't need to worry about a thing.
Yeah, I feel good about this year. It's going to be a banger. Yeah. All right. Well, good luck everybody who's hunting this year. If you want to get a hold of Hannah, she's got a bunch of good guides working for her, bunch of ground, lots of elk, deer, turkeys, upland birds, all the things.
A lot of birds.
Mm-hmm.
So many birds.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you to everyone who has taken the time out of their busy lives to write a review for the show and share it with their friends. I'm extremely proud of how intelligent, engaged, and adventurous this audience is. Original music for the Six Ranch podcast is written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Harlander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.